I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. This presentation is just going to be an important presentation, and all the things that we're going to talk about are sourced. And the things that we're going to talk about, i.e. nuclear war with Russia, is it being reported on the lamestring, the lying legacy media, the lamestring media, whatever you want to call it? But it's brought to you by the folks at the satellite phone store here with their power generation, and also sat phones and bivy sticks down here. Block all signals, the Faraday and ballistic bags. That's at darkbags.com. Also, Escape Zone. The EscapeZonePeople.com. All these bags are Escape Zone like this for your cell phone. If the folks at the J6 would have had their cell phones in a bag like this, a Faraday pouch like this, they would have never been found, hacked, geofenced, arrested. Likely they never would. And to talk about what's coming up is Steve Quayle. Steve Quayle has some excellent sources. He's been in radio for decades. He's been on the cutting edge of a lot of things. He's also an expert in antiquities, especially in Central America. Steve Quayle, thanks for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
Well, Greg, I want everyone to understand that the lying mainstream whore legacy neurolinguistic programming press is nothing more than a tool of mind control. Anybody who's listening, and they should not be listening, to mainstream media whatsoever is being reinforced and put into la-la land. And I want to say this, they're going to be subject to a deadly stupor that will cost them their lives. This is the most important broadcast I've ever felt in my life. I've been on talk radio, 35 years, 3.5 decades. But what makes us important is that, ladies and gentlemen, it's all through not only alt news, but any news but American news. There can only be one reason. I want everyone to hear me. I'll just hit it bottom line and we'll go backwards. The powers that be, the Illuminist, globalist, Luciferian Satanists want the death of 250 million of Americans. And the headlines that Greg will hold up should tell you that. And what they don't tell you in the headlines, I'll tell you with intel sources, with multiple demonstrations of the lies of the mainstream press. And when your life and your wife and family or husband and children's lives and grandchildren's lives are on the line, I'm not going to hold back. So, Greg, hold up those articles that we printed out for your viewers, if you would, right now.
Well, let's start right here. This just came in. This is Michael Snyder. He's been a guest on this show. He's an attorney. He doesn't do anything without sourcing it. Okay, and I love him as a reporter. I love him. And here it is. They're already talking about this. Talk of preemptive attack on Russia is going to make Russia even more likely to conduct a preemptive attack on the United States. People think they just can't believe that this could ever happen to America. They have ratcheted this up. And the reason why you don't know anything about it is because they have suppressed the stories, or, oh, Russia bad, Ukraine good, and nothing could be farther from the truth. We started that. I've had Martin Armstrong on. We've been working at this war since 2014-15 with Victoria Nuland and sending supplies over there. And they are Nazis. I kid you not. In the bills, they were saying when they were sending the stuff over there, don't give it to the Nazis. I kid you not. We're coming in on the side of the Nazis. But let's just start here, Steve. Talk of a preemptive attack on Russia is going to make Russia even more likely to conduct a preemptive attack on the United States. Go.
Well, first of all, Russia's technological lead is 20 to 30 years ahead of us. Number two, people have got to understand, when you're talking about weapon systems, ballistic missiles that can travel at 9 to 12 times the speed of sound, you're talking in the numbers of 7,000 to 9,000 miles per hour. Then you get into the fact that they have warheads in their missiles that are independently targetable, meaning anything in ballistic missile system wise that thinks they could intercept them. There's nothing the West has, there's nothing NATO has, there's nothing anybody has that can intercept the newest Russian hypersonic missiles. The United States does not have any in field. Next point. Russia demonstrated that their intercontinental ballistic missile had multiple independent targeted reentry vehicles, multiple warheads that could be steered. Number three, the most critical point is Russia has been building, they've been warning, they've been demonstrating. Now look, here's the deal. I categorically reject the lies that if you tell the truth about Russia, Scott Ritter's telling the truth about Russia. If you tell the truth, you're automatically a traitor, a Russian agent, a this or that. People who listen to that, you're already dead men walking. Look at it's within the heart of a king. The proverb, Solomon said it, to search out a matter. I'll give you the details and facts. But ladies and gentlemen, the headlines that Greg just held up. Michael Snyder. I mean, we've got Lavrov. Sergei Lavrov is the most seasoned, intelligent secretary of, what should I say?
He's a foreign minister. Sergei Lavrov. He's a Russian top tier. He's equivalent to the Secretary of State.
Yeah, he's the smartest man. He has tried and tried and tried. By the way, I know brilliance. I mean, I've interviewed some of those brilliant people in the world. That man has tried to get the West's attention. Look, don't do it. Do it. Don't force or provoke us to use our weapons. Medvedev, the former president of Russia, he's a very smart man. He said, his headline was something like this yesterday. Okay, NATO, you want your war? You'll disappear in 15 minutes. I thought he was given an extra 5 minutes. I want people to understand this. These are headlines in the world. Well, that came from RT or that came from this. You can try and dismiss it, but look, 15,000 woke folk in the military, they can't. This is from someone who's deeply entrenched, okay? They can't even teach those people the nuclear protocol skills because their minds are on something else. Gee, what might that be? Ladies and gentlemen, if you cannot sense the passion, if you cannot sense the drive that this important podcast, that we're fighting for your lives, and everyone needs to know this. FEMA, which is responsible for all the imprisonment camps. They're not, re-education camps. They have not done anything, and they've blocked all attempts to help the North Carolinians. The same thing in Florida, even to the point of putting up gates on people's private property so they can't get to it. FEMA is not your friend. FEMA is not your friend. So all of a sudden they announced tonight, what's today? November 26th, 2 days before Thanksgiving, that they're putting out an emergency nuclear war
here it is.
Survival guide amid escalating global tensions.
America on the brink.
Something?
FEMA issues nuclear survival guide amid escalating global tensions, just like you said. This is squawk.com. This is unbelievable that they're putting out and this is not being picked up in the lying legacy media at all. There's no warning whatsoever.
And I want to share something. I know exactly why they're doing that. There is a free download that you can get. Just type in Cresson, C-R-E-S-S-O-N, Kearney, K-E-R-N-Y. Just type in nuclear survival skills. He was a genius. He put out the most inexpensive way for people to prepare that will not have had any time to officially prepare. Again, nuclear war survival skills. So they're telling you, I just got an email in on my phone from a gentleman who knows what's going on. He said, Steve, I've gone there. That manual doesn't exist. I guarantee you, if it doesn't, it will after this podcast. Greg, here's the thing. We're all accountable. We all have personal responsibility. But why in the heck have so many people believe that no one who's ever told the truth, legacy media, lying whore press, mainstream accessories to genocidal murder by a bunch of maniacs? Why would they believe there will be any truth coming from? And why do you think the legacy media, who are owned by the mega corporations, who are globalists, illuminists, and they are Luciferian worshippers, why does anybody think they'd ever hear the truth from them? It is because of neuro-linguistic programming, CIA, MK Ultra. In essence, it's mind control. And when the two words that came out, people need to know this: fearmonger, invented by the CIA. Fearmonger. Anytime that you're hearing something, as someone saying that, you're just a fear porn purveyor. Well, guess what? You're just a CIA mind-controlled zombie, in my opinion. And I'm furious. I want to say this. I am having the hardest time because tonight Greg Hunter and myself and others who are out there, we're not the only ones. Scott Ritter, UN former weapons inspector, he is one of the brightest men. I don't even know him, by the way. You're watching Colonel McGregor telling you what's going to do. He is one of the smartest people all the way. God is raising up voices, even if they're not Christians. The Christians won't tell the truth. The Christians don't even know the truth, and they don't know the lateness of their hour. And so by everyone focusing on a political solution to a spiritual problem, they're putting off, doing anything. And I'm going to tell everybody, everyone's number one goal is they better have a relationship with the living God through Jesus Christ. Because look, I'm charged tonight, but in my heart I have peace. I've spent good night 45 years. I was one of the founders of the prep business. I've been fighting for civil defense. Nope, not on a national level, never come. Russia can shelter and has sheltered and is sheltering right now 40 million of their citizens, and Putin and the entire Russian high command is in multiple bunkers in the Urals, and when you see him being rushed to the Moscow Kremlin, or you see him in a familiar setting, that's all a set. Biden does it too. Every world leader has a duplicate set and a duplicate person, whether it's computer generated coupled with AI. But people have noticed that you pay attention to even the habits of the hands, the fidgeting. I'm telling everyone, Russia is prepared. They are locked down. And if you see anything of, let's say this, escorted limousines going to the Kremlin, that's to send a false signal. You don't even know if the salad princess, is truly in Hawaii. And if she is, she's at ground zero. When China, for the first time in 40 years, now everybody, I want you to hear this. For the first time in 40 years, China launched an ICBM into the Hawaiian area and the Hawaiian waters. The Pacific Theater Missile Command is literally on the island of Kauai. That will be the first target, even over Pearl Harbor, even over everything else, because that Pacific Missile Theater range controls everything under the ocean, on top of the ocean, in the air, and the satellites above it. And I can tell you from personal experience, being an aerial helicopter photographer, flying over the Pacific Missile Theater range on the island of Kauai, and the helicopter pilot and I were only communicating with our headsets. True story. And he said, wow, that's interesting. This is, I think, 5 years ago. And he said, and I said, what's interesting? He said, the OTH, over the horizon radar, has not been turned on. We got so much feedback in our headsets. And then take it to the Lord, those of you who know Jesus. And then this is what I heard in my spirit, not audibly. I heard the words, Steve, this is where World War III starts. And it was in the context of China. 2 days later, I'm on an Avon boat, high-speed inflatable, off of the Pacific Missile Theater range, Barking Sands Air Force landing strip, and in came a sub-hunting U.S. plane, and all these people are, out there in their bathing suits and stuff, and somebody said that one of the captains on the little the Zodiac boat, she said, I never seen this before. And I said, that's before you've never seen China's submarines being searched for, and everybody and that boat stared at me. I could have probably I could not have spoken a word out of season. I was there, it happened, it's a real story. So why am I saying that? Because Russia and China will take and go for Taiwan, and it will start with taking out the island of Kauai. I think the Mr. Facebook guy chose the wrong place to build his $100 million, $200 million bunker. Now, why is that critical? There is no civil defense. We see stories that there are 10 million people traveling in the airports, headed for Thanksgiving vacations, this and everything. But there's a really prominent theme running through this, that when people cry peace and safety, everything's fine now, everything's fine because we've got Make America Great Again, and we've got this promise of all this stuff's going to be done. None of it will be able to be done. We're talking about Russia having filed a notice to airmen from their major missile launching site for, I think starts tonight. You can go on Hal Turner's website and take a look at it. Hal's got real intelligence sources. I always check his sources with my sources. And ladies and gentlemen, they are going to send a message, and I believe it's going to contain hypersonic missiles, the newest version, with thermobaric weapons. So in case people know what thermobaric weapons are, they are overdriven explosions, and you know, we have them too. They're called fuel air explosives, but the Russians possess them up to 44 megatons. That's 44 million tons of TNT. The United States, our lead nuclear weapons, don't, you know, barely have over 1 megaton. I don't know that there's a functional 5 megaton weapon in the nuclear arsenal.
But where are they going to send those weapons? Where are they going to send them?
They're going to send a message. They're going to go into, thank you for asking me that. They're going into the Ukraine, into specific targeted areas. And remember, Ukraine just launched 3 Atacam missiles, okay? And Ukraine has crossed every line, but they're being provoked by the foundation laid down by Victoria Nuland and all the neocons. Ladies and gentlemen, when you hear the word con, whether it's in Congress, neocon, you've got to know con is not a good thing. That means a lie, an intentional misdirection. I've spent my life, Greg. Somebody said, well, how do you know all this? Because by the grace of God, I have been tutored by some of the smartest people in the world. I won't even drop names because, oh, you're trying to build yourself. No, I'm trying to plead with people. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody who's listening to this podcast, you have to understand, you will never be told the truth. The goal is to destroy 250 million American lives. Oh, where do you get that? From the Rockefeller Foundation's The Deagle Report, who said by the year 2025, hello, we're getting close, America's population will be diminished to 100 million people. 100 million people. You want to do the current math on that? Greg, this isn't fear porn. This is nothing but the truth. But you know what? America's such in lie with the horror press and the lies, they can no longer discern the truth. Go ahead, sir.
I wanted to bring up a couple of things, a couple of rays of hope here. One of them is that Biden is asking for $24 billion, and they're finally getting a real kickback in Congress saying, oh, hell no. And so they're finally getting that. When the first $40 billion went up, 89 senators said, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, accounting for that? Oh, no, we don't want any of that. And so that was a ray of hope. Is that a ray of hope, Steve? I mean, they're...
Not at all. Not at all. It's the biggest batch of the perfect combination of pig and cattle excrement mixed together and put in a fancy package with holiday wrapping paper and a bow. Listen, there is no money, everyone. We are $37 trillion in debt. And for the record, Yellen quit. Did you see that? She quit. She fled the country. Guess what?
She did.
Powell, head of the Fed, fled the country. I think it was, I actually know what time it was, 1:37, I believe, last Saturday, a week ago. And ladies and gentlemen, 100 of the most prominent people associated with both the woke military and both the biggest bankers in the world. I want to make something clear. If anybody does not know that the Fed are the ones that are owned by the international bankers who are all out of the country, then you got to understand something. The bank liquidity is based on what the Fed loans to the Treasury that basically liquefies the banks. You're going to watch the greatest theft. And look, this isn't an economic show.
Steve, tell me about the 100 people that did what? 100 top 100 people did what? Did they left the country? 100
top people in the banking and in the woke military, the generals that respond, the woke generals that responded to Donald Trump's commission of what I think, getting 44 retired generals to go through and check out the veracity. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it was less than 24 hours. Well, how do you know that? I don't spend my time or my life on putting people at risk to just put out some form of bullcrap. Look, Greg, I will say this. I confirm it multiple ways. I know people that are in Dubai, and oh, by the way, they went to Dubai because Dubai doesn't have extradition with the United States. This isn't a dime store novel. This isn't a batch of manure. This is reality. But when people will no longer embrace the truth, they'll believe any lie, and they'll be damned. They'll be damned, 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 and dead because they refuse to acknowledge the truth.
So
I don't know if I can get bottom line to that.
Do you think that they'll give them the $24 billion or print up the fresh $24 billion? I mean, they can still print money, and it's
They
some
can
people.
yeah.
It looks like they're getting some pushback on that.
Huh?
It looks like they're getting some pushback on that.
You know what
Senator Lee
pushback
said
is?
no, he wouldn't do it. Go ahead.
Well, here's the deal.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that that's one of the things.
No. You're not.
Biden's trying to get $24 billion as he's leaving office for more war.
Yeah, well, listen, $30 billion moved out of the Fed. People don't understand. Congress can piss in the wind. Sorry, they can promise everything. They can't do anything about the Fed. They can't. When the head of the Fed fled, when Janet Yellen fled, and when everybody can't see that what we're reading to you on the headlines tonight, we're telling you, please understand, when those people fled, they know you are dead. This is where do you pay the military and servicemen that have been woken and broken in the United States? Where do you get the training? And like I said, 15,000 transgenders in the U.S. military. Those people, according to someone who is in the highest order, retired 20 years ago, the new generation does not have the technical skills, the training, not all, but the majority, to even begin to try and build back the United States nuclear arsenal. It's too late, ladies and gentlemen. It's too late. Oh, you're so negative. No, I am positive, but I'm pragmatic. I'm tired of the flustered cluckers. Boy, hats off to James Kunstler. I love his newsletter, but I changed it around so people wouldn't be offended. If it doesn't offend people that 250 million Americans are targeted, and we keep provoking. Nuclear war. Russia never made those statements initially, but it was the neocons. It was every agreement, starting with the Minsk agreement, that in good faith, pragmatists. Look, here's something that most people who are Christians or claim to be claimants to Christianity, they don't understand the basic laws of God. One of them being, when a nation does that which is right in the sight of God, equal measure, just measures. When the nation does right in the sight of God, not allowing homosexual mutilation of children. When President Putin and Russia takes a stand for nationalism, takes a stand for a cohesive faith, look, God's going to bless it. I'm not saying I don't know where they stand with Jesus, but then compare Russia's stand on basic morality versus what's going on in the United States immorality. You compare the church, even the Russian Orthodox Church, with the apostate Catholic Church. I'm not talking Catholics. I'm talking the headship of the Catholic Church in Rome. When you see the apostate evangelifish, that's my term for evangelicals who have compromised the Lord Jesus Christ and the Word of God, when you see everybody not standing up for Jesus, and then you see a man that basically is saying, look, we're going to defend the family, we're going to defend the rights, not sexually mutilate. We have taken our place in history. Look, I write about ancient history, I research it, and Greg, there's never been the perversion of society. Even those who worship Moloch, all the different Canaanite religions, and we have outsurpassed them all, and it's only going to get worse. So back to Russia. Russia is not kidding. And so, Greg, I need to take a break here for a minute. So take over. So, in essence, you're the one that's warning too. You've interviewed, and this isn't flattery, this is history. I want to make sure people understand that. Someone who tells you the truth, history proves the truth, that's not flattery, that's not ego, that's history. The only way to divorce a nation from its roots, aka USA, is to divorce it from its history. What was the most important thing to the woke folk under the Solinsky's rules for radical? Look at all of our landmarks. Look at all of our true heroes. Everything was taken down, taken out, because it was offensive to those, let's just say this, tragically misdirected, but a lot of them, how do I say this very kindly? I don't need to be kind, but when the devil takes over a nation and everything in that nation supports the war on Jesus Christ, the Word of God. Look, I'm not making apologies. Tell me this. Was America better when we honored the living God? Was it better? In my opinion, look, I'm a kid of the 60s. I was born in 51. But the bottom line is, what made something or everything change? I'll tell you what, one word that I'll give Obama credit for telling the truth. America's the greatest nation in the world, and we intend to change all that. That's his exact words. So, ladies and gentlemen, how do you like the change? But more importantly, are you ready to pay the eternal price for your silence, for your cowardice, and for your, I'll just ignore it, it'll go away. Greg, take it, please. I got to just take a quick break and get a glass of water.
Okay, I wanted to come on and I want to bring up this quote, which I think is bringing up some kind of maybe a ray of light here, and that is the foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, who is the equivalent to the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, the guy that proves that even I could be Secretary of State. But this is something that he brought up just a few days ago, and I'm thinking, I'm hoping that they won't take the bait. And that's Russia's top diplomat, Sergei Lavrov, says Biden, Ukraine moves trying to muck things up for Trump. Now think about that. Now this is one of the top diplomat, the equivalent to the Secretary of State for Russia. And he's not going to get taken to the woodshed for this. He's saying that the Biden administration, we know what you're doing, basically. We know you're trying to start a war. We know you're trying to pour money in there. They've already basically came up and broke their own rule about landmines that they didn't want to use in the Ukraine theater. And now just with Joe Biden getting ready to leave office. Just kidding. We're going to send landmines, and they stay around forever, and they can, kill animals and children and people and maim people. Landmines are a nasty, terrible thing. When the war is over, you still got the landmines that are ready to go. But I think this is at least a ray of hope that maybe the Russians will not take the bait. And, their top diplomat says Biden, Ukraine moves trying to muck things up for Trump. Now, they have already said that they're going to, counterattack Kiev for sending more missiles into Russia. I think Steve was bringing up this. They're going to, they've already, used hypersonic missiles with conventional warheads, not nuclear warheads, with conventional warheads. And so that right there is a ray of hope that they know they're being played, and we're just praying to the good Lord that they won't take the bait. But they're pushing this. Steve, I was just talking about this. Lavrov is saying to people that they are pushing, that they know they're pushing this, that they are mucking things up. They're trying for war, and you don't see any of that. What you see on even the alt press, Kamala was drunk, or you see this Rachel Maddow talking about how scary Trump is. I'll tell you what's scary: nuclear war with Russia, but nobody's saying a word about it. They can't talk about how we're ramping up war, especially at the MSNBCs of the world, which are doubling down on the stupid, but report that, oh no, Trump's an agent, he's a Russian agent, and Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation, and oh yeah, the shots are safe and effective, and Ukraine is winning the war. Not. So, but there is a ray of hope here, that at least,
I'll tell you what, yeah, great, obviously, thank you, I had to step away for a minute, but the ray of hope is the light of the world. His name is Jesus Christ. I want to share something.
I agree.
This is so critical that people understand. Jesus said the whole world lies in the evil one. that means, oh, there's not a little pocket of good people over here. There is no such thing as a good Christian. There is only the word redeemed by the blood of Jesus Christ Christian. We do not come to God by good works. We come through faith in Jesus Christ. Okay, what hope can the world give? What hope can the world give? They're already priming the pump with bird flu. They're already talking about a second lockdown. Gruesome Newsom, one of the most sinisterly deceptive men in the world, in my opinion, Governor of California. Look at it. The rhetoric is building. Look, I wrote a book before anybody would have anything to do with the subject of biological and chemical weapons called Breathe No Evil. Breathe No Evil. That was 25 years ago. I brought to the public worldwide knowledge of Operation COAST, C-O-A-S-T, genetically targeted bioweapons. I am not a biologist, I am not a biochemist, but I am a detailed researcher. And I know people, and I've met them, that are some of the movers and shakers. Bioweapons are not familiar to me. When everybody is whining, the lies about COVID-19, all of your guests, Greg, you've had on, Karen Kingston, love her. I mean, Peter McCullough, all of these different experts. And you know what? How can anybody listen to bullshit, I'm sorry, on CVS radio or some of the pharmacies, CVS, talking about, oh, we've got our new COVID shots, flu, showing happy faces, smiling pink bandages. How many people have to die? How many people have to die? And they died, and you know what? You still see, I'm in Bozeman, Montana, you still see idiot, mind-controlled zombies wearing masks, okay, and feigning fear, projecting fear. And if you even look at them, that really happened to me the other day. I kept my mouth shut. I prayed, Lord, you've got to help me keep my mouth shut. But you've got zombies. And my new name for the Republicans, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a political process. This is not a political salvation. Jesus Christ died for my sins. And ladies and gentlemen, not one mention of national repentance, not one mention of Sodom and Gomorrah's history or Tyre and Sidon or the nations that have fled and been destroyed because they practice abominations even less than the abominations that we are practicing in this country. Oh, you're talking about that God stuff. That God stuff, if you don't come in to the knowledge, the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. Look, well, you're not supposed to be a preacher. You're supposed to be a teacher. Jesus is the truth. Jesus is the light of the world. And I'll go head to head with anybody. I put out a challenge because there are certain people in the Pentagon that hate my guts. Oh, I'm so happy for that. I'll put it out publicly. I will debate anybody on your show or a platform that we both agree as to where the United States is in our defense and military capabilities. Why is it that the most sophisticated weapons, including the total electromagnetic spectrum control, do not exist in the U.S. military? Oh, you don't love your country. I love the country that men died for to pretend. I no longer can even identify with the country that we see. I can't. And I've watched veterans. I've fought for veterans. I've been on talk radio long enough. I've fought for their rights. I've been kicked out. I've been banned, and I am not allowed to be quoted in VA hospitals across the world. That's told to me by veterans, who many of those guys are dead now. Look at the way we treat our veterans when we give the immigrants all this money. It is a heinous, ultimate treason and execution warrant for the veterans on the street. And I'm not a military guy, but I appreciate one thing, the word sacrifice. And the smart ones that got out of the U.S. military, look, the military's been destroyed from within. You don't need me to tell you that. Are you kidding me? You take a Russian or a Chinese recruitment video and compare it to I'm in the U.S. military, and I have two mommies, or my two mommies are in the U.S. military. That's not a joke. That's a real. You cannot use high heels and pregnancy belts on a man and expect that you're building one man's army. Listen, women want men. Women want men to man up. I'll tell you an interesting thing. This is just a point. Yellowstone's one of the most popular, the movie Yellowstone, the series that used to have Kevin Costner. Taylor Sheridan is a genius because the man that plays, the kind of, John Dutton, the head lead, he gets so many women that can't separate the reality of his tough guy character. And he made the statement, something like this, not word for word, but ladies, do you understand I play a bad guy on that TV episode? You know what? He got more. Oh, I wish I could find a man like you. Women are longing. Look, we have become Edgar Rice Burroughs' Nation of the Amazons. The rise of the Amazon Queen. So what does this have to do anything? I'm not missing anything. What I'm telling you is this. There was an ethos. And the ethos in America was we stood for liberty, justice for all. Whether there were acts of injustice or non-liberty, sure there were. But look at the nation. I love when Morgan Freeman, when they were trying to call him an Afro-American, he said, look, I'm an American. By the dissembling of the word American, look at this. Do you know America as you are? Even if you say you're American, you're a racist. To hell on the fast train for those people that call anybody who stands for God's values, the country's values we used to have, a racist. There are more black people turning against the Democratic lying sacks of manure because they're smart men. I see my black brothers. This isn't a black and white thing, but I see them standing up for Jesus while the skinny-jeaned, pompous peacocks parade across the pulpits of America on Christian TV. God bless my brothers, white, black, Oriental, that stand up for Jesus. Now, what's this about tonight? Tonight is, I believe, the most critical interview Greg Hunter and I have ever done. That's my interviews with him. He's interviewed, and this isn't flattery, but he's interviewed the major movers and shakers in the world, the smartest people in the world, because Greg has a nose for truth. You probably don't say, thank you, God, for the nose for truth, but you do. You start out as an investigative reporter, and your hunches, your inner man, you know when there's something that's got legs to it. But any truth is absolutely not allowed. That's why you see CNN going down the crap hole of history. That's why you'll see MSNBC fail. That's why you see The View, they're watching A View to their kill, their own. People of all races are fed up. When you can't buy a McDonald's Happy Meal for $20 when you used to be able to pay, what, $5.99? I don't eat at McDonald's. But I'm saying that, ladies and gentlemen, every single aspect of our decline and degenerating society is not speaking about the blessing of the living God. I'm telling you, Greg, there is a ray of hope. His name is Jesus Christ. And I'm telling you this, I don't waste my time staying up for 48 hours straight, couple hours, so let's say this, 46 hours with a couple hours of sleep, talking to people, emailing people, and seeking everything I know in research, because this is my job, this is what I was called to. And when I'm done, Jesus will say, come home, Steve, and I'm gone. But I'm praying that enough people will understand the lateness of the hour. And before we go, I want to give everybody an email of field time Eyes on Intelligence that came into me a few hours ago. It was sent out to my private briefing subscribers and to my Q files. Those are paywall that will blow your mind. I don't even think you've seen it yet.
I wanted to talk, I'm hoping that the good Lord, that Jehovah and Jesus will buy us some more time. The longer you live, the more time you have to, turn to Christ. But I'm just hoping that some miracle will happen. It can only come from above. Will happen, and we'll put this off. But I do want to talk about our sponsor, which is the Satellite Phone Store. They have all these products that, one thing's for sure, even if we don't have nuclear war, we're going to have tyranny. And even with Trump in office, there's all the spying by the big tech and all the controlling and all the central bank digital currency and all that. Listen, that is one of the things that is going to continue the intrusion into your privacy of your life. If nothing else, it'll be that. And I know you have one of the backpacks that you want to hold up. Steve.
Yep. This is the Escape Zone backpack, Faraday cage in it, and offers minimal pistol protection due to the ballistic panel. Now, the bigger backpack has the satellite phone store, sat123.com, and ladies and gentlemen, all of these email addresses we give you, they all connect to pretty much the same thing, escapezone.com. When you sign up, you do not buy this phone, you sign up for a plan, $99.95, and when each phone you sign up for on a year contract, they give you this backpack. And I'm not kidding you. This isn't a demo model. I got my stuff in it. I won't pull out some of it because, some of it is tactical operational security. But because it's such a convenient size, got some Faraday, I even put my dart bag into here too. Because again, everyone, you've got to understand, as the power that's inherent in 5G is kicked up, we're not even told of the real power that's 6G waiting in the wings. And for the record, those who have followed me, that's called the Genesis 6. Genesis 6. Oh, how interesting. That's the Genesis 6 waveform. So, again, darkbags.com and escapezone.com. And when you buy either an Iridium phone, okay, a sat phone. Somebody says, well, I got nobody to call. Well, I want to share something. You have to have a way to communicate. And I personally have a registry of those who want to register their phone with me, because that's the way I'm going to keep in contact. Lord willing, and if I have a 5-minute warning alert, I'm not going to tell people I'm going to do it, and it's not how they think, because I'm going to give you the last minute. So I want everyone to know our sponsor at the sponsors, sat123.com. Sign up for their phone and you get this. What a great holiday gift. And I would call this, what a great health-saving gift. And you can always add extra ballistic panels. In a backpack, it's a ballistic panel. That's
let me show you that. I'll show you that ballistic panel. This is the streamlined one with the ballistic panel in it. This is the one that's like this. And so there's room for, this is this panel here. There's room for it. It can stop a lot of handgun rounds, not a 44 mag and not up to 357, something like that. But it has the Faraday features, which will stop the tracking and geofencing and all that. It'll stop all that. The bigger bag is here, and this is you can take this and pack a lot of clothes in it, things like that. But it also has a ballistic panel, and it's a thicker panel. And you could get a couple of these panels, and you could make it even more robust to stop even more different rounds you can do. I don't know anything about how many it'll stop, but this will stop most handgun rounds. But again, it has the Faraday, anti-tracking, anti-geofencing, people spying on you.
Yeah, it will protect your phone, your keys, and your garage door opener from anybody that wants to capture a signal that is generated when you engage your car door, when you engage your garage door, or obviously when you want to make a phone. I hope people can understand this. We have 475, however, the final total, of people in prison unjustly. And
because they were geo-tracked. They were geofenced.
Because they were geofenced. Until that happened, nobody even knew what geofencing was.
That's right. And here's the phone bag. This is the Escape Zone brand phone bag. You'll see it on the right here. And if you click on right here, blocking all signals, That's darkbags.com. That takes you to sat123.com. Takes you to satellite phone. Same thing with this. This is the sat123. This is the subsidiary companies of them. But it is the Escape Zone brand, which is going to be really popular in the future. My wife has this purse, and this is a Faraday bag purse, and she has a clicker. We have a button on the outside of the car, and she says, my thing's not working. I said, oh my gosh, the battery's dead. Oh, and then she said, oh, that's right. Oh, hold on, honey. I stuck it. It was in the purse. I stuck it in the Faraday pouch along with the garage door opener, and I stuck it in here, and it just killed it. It just absolutely killed. There's also a strap on this bag. There's also a bigger bag. Again, it comes with a strap. Same thing. It has a Faraday pouch in it, right here. You know, you put your stuff in there. This will hold a small. This will hold a tablet, a small tablet. But anyway, that's the bag there. So it's all the kind of things that you can basically maintain your privacy in an era of tyranny. Even if we don't have nuclear war, we're going to have intrusions into your privacy, and we're going to have tyranny no matter who's in office, because big tech is basically, their brand is tyranny.
The problem with Americans is they don't realize that all the comforts, the liberty, and the freedom are gone, along with your safety. And you have to take your safety, your wife's safety, your children's safety as a #1 priority. I'm telling every woman, when you get into your vehicle, look in the back seat. When you're walking to your vehicle, as you're approaching the vehicle, if you're solo, look under the car. Greg, in Bozeman, Montana, we even have the gangs now. The Venezuelan gangs. We have the drug corridor on Interstate 90. You would not know the Bozeman, Montana that I grew up here, and I've been here for 60 years off and on, and you know what I'm saying to you, everything's a changing. It's just like the old song that the times they are a changing, and turn. There's a time for everything. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen, that if you're wondering, God, I just went to the grocery store, and I bought one bag of groceries is $100. The food inflation. Please, everyone, do not take the blessings of God for granted, because all the blessings of God are being taken from you, except those which you appropriate in faith. Greg, everything we're sharing tonight from the Escape Zone, everything we're sharing tonight from the satellite phone store, even the tremendous offer, do you understand it costs $200 for that smaller backpack? And you can get them at the bigger one, which is more effective ballistics, more effective, bigger. And by the way, I have one of those too. The thing is that this is your life. This is your life. I want to say something. I got to say it carefully. This is your life. Make the best of it. Stay in communication. Stay informed. Research a matter. Don't listen to the mainstream press. You know why they hate us in alt news? Because we're challenging the false, lying, devilic, demonic narrative. Now, let's talk about the blanket. Hold the blanket
This
up.
is the EMF blanket, okay? This is, I mean, if you look at it like this, you think, oh, it's a little baby blanket. Well, yes and no. It is also a Faraday blanket that will stop radiation and signals. Radiation, mainly, these devices you have, laptops and cell phones and whatever, you need protection. Steve.
Well, first of all, everyone, that's a critical piece of personal protection. I know that most people who have laptops don't put them in their lap, but you can put that over your lap. Listen, if men don't get this, men should never carry their cell phone in their front pocket. They're being electromagnetically castrated. Women should never carry their cell phone close to their reproductive organs. Same thing. And Greg, we're only talking about the frequencies now. The blanket, 2x3, cover your computer at night. Turn off your router at night. Put your phone under it. Even when the phone is off, put it under the blanket. What I do is put it on my table, my desk, and I just throw the blanket over it, okay? But I make sure, I've been delinquent in this, turning off my routers because of like my hours. My hours suck. I need a different watch with more hours on it. But the point is that literally, that blanket is critical. And if you've got young people, most everybody who's got a kid has kids have cell phones, kids have laptops, kids have tablets. They must learn the protection value. They must understand what electromagnetic radiation can do. And we're gonna see the planned, if you will, the planned neutering of human reproduction, especially in the United States, because that's already going on. Sex change, this is the most critical thing. You can get it, get it at Escape Zone. You've got to get this stuff. Look, this isn't a pitch for product, although we are both blessed, Greg and I are both blessed to have one of the best support reality-based sponsors, I believe, that exists in the world. I really do. Look, they don't do everything right all the time, but they're on call 24/7 to 24 hours a day. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to take your orders. So they're serious, and I've never seen anybody more responsive than Tina, the owner, one of the owners of Satellite Phone Store, the original owner of it. The bottom line is that she can move thousands of satellite phones overnight to places that have been struck by natural disasters and geoengineered warfare. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think what happened to North Carolina is that's just a fluke of nature, no, it isn't. It's what Dane Wigington has devoted his life to, geoengineeringwatch.org. It's what I wrote the first book on, weather warfare and natural disasters 25 years ago. So this is life-saving. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you can understand one word, and actually use a simple word: age. We're at the end of the age. That's the annihilation, genocide, and extinction of the human race. Age, the end of the age.
Well,
that's a pretty interesting thing.
It is, no, without question. When my wife reads her cell phone at night, do you have protection? And she puts this thing over her like this, and the cat may come up, and she'll cover the cat in it. And she'll have a blanket. If you're on an airplane and you using your phone, you can protect yourself. And like Steve said, you can cover your computers, you can cover your phone. That's just the EMF blanket. It comes in two sizes. This is the small size. The other size is about twice this big. But it's an EMF blanket. Steve, we're getting ready to wrap up and close. Is there anything you want to say in closing here when we're basically staring down the barrel at a contrived and a forced nuclear war as Biden leaves office? I've never known a president to try to start a war as he's leaving office, but yet he's so cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and Tony Blinken and all of his staff members and Jake Sullivan are all trying to stoke war, along with our generals in the Pentagon are trying to stoke a war. How disgusting is that as they leave office? As Sergei Lavrov said, Biden is trying to muck things up for Trump.
Well, I think it's a really easy answer, Greg. If you know that everything in government, state, local, federal, wants you absolutely out of the way, if you cannot see the dichotomy of the new administration hiring some of the amazing, promising people, and then hiring someone that's, for instance, the chief propagandist for the pharmaceutical industry, and that lady is now the chief of staff for Trump, proposed chief of staff. When you see 1 minute you get somebody that's a crusader, whether you like him or not, Bobby Kennedy's talking about the health of America, and then you see people that are being appointed that are absolutely some of the biggest vaccination proponents in the world. We don't have enough time left, but here's the end point I want to make. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your decision. You will live, you will die. Your children will live, they will die. This isn't nonsense. We're talking about nuclear war. And I am telling you point blank, I have to paraphrase, we're running out of time. I received real world intel from someone I know, veteran, and someone he's related to, overheard a conversation, I won't tell you what state, I won't tell you where a law enforcement officer was talking to his best friend, and the young lady heard the message sent between the two of them, she wasn't eavesdropping, they were just pretty heated in their discussion, that he said, you'd better be where you're going to be, because there's a lockdown during the holidays. Now, what, 2 days? It's Thanksgiving. I'm praying. I've prayed. I continue to pray. And I believe in the God who answers prayer, that with God, all things are possible, that God will absolutely, even for 72 hours, this is what I'm literally praying, take the veils and the scales off the eyes of the people in America and take the scales off their heart. It's not coming back. Listen, it's not coming back. America is not going to be made great again. There are too many Luciferian, satanic worshiping people in the government who are believing that Lucifer, who took 1/3 of the fallen angels of heaven, he really exists, they're going to rule and reign and have everybody else's money. Klaus Schwab, you're going to own nothing and be happy. You're going to be dead. Make this a matter. If you know how to pray, make it a matter, look, of serious prayer, because there is nothing when a person comes to Jesus that can pluck you out of his arms. And everything and everyone attacking Jesus Christ, attacking the God of heaven, attacking God's holy word, wants you dead and damned. See, the devil doesn't care about how many people he murders, especially 250 million Americans, as long as there are 250 million Americans denied eternal life. And it really exists, because you can see all the testimonies of near-death experiences. People go to hell, people go to heaven. When a preponderance of evidence talks about there's way more to life and eternal life, once you close your eyes and draw your last breath, I would say this: my best advice is to call upon the name of the Lord, even if you're an atheist, even if you're agnostic, and say, God, if you're there, in honesty, reveal yourself to me. I've never known God to turn away, and nor will he, from an honest request for God to reveal himself to them. Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Satellite Phone Store. Thank you, Tina, and thank you, all of those who have prayed for Greg, prayed for me, have listened to us, supported us. This is, and you've got to understand, that this is the most important, time-sensitive message. We're talking about World War III. And most people have never seen, even because you're meant not to see, what the results of a nuclear war will be. Forget Nagasaki, Hiroshima. They really happened. We're talking about weapons of, in some cases, 1,000,000 times magnitude greater. And that's what we're fighting for, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're telling you for. That's what we're speaking out for. And Greg, God bless you, and thank you. Thank you for taking a stand for this. Your pension fund, retirement plans, and all that stuff, that's not to mean a thing to you when the banks are closed or blowing up. And ladies and gentlemen, your life, your children's life, your wife, and your eternal life is what's at stake. And the most important thing you've been given is life. And the most important offering is that you might have